My name is Ruby. I'm 32 years old and live in a small town in Colorado. I have two children, Ella 8 and Max 6, and a marriage that has lasted nearly 10 years with my husband Logan, who is 34. Our family life was never what you'd call perfect, but it used to be stable enough for me to hold on to. We had old routines that felt safe. Dinner at 6, folding laundry together on Sunday nights, cartoons on Saturday mornings. Logan was never the romantic type, but he used to be the kind of man who got the kids to school on time, changed the light bulbs, and picked up milk without me having to remind him. He didn't hug me every day, but he always checked the locks before bed. It was the kind of boring peace I accepted. Because the world outside was even more exhausting. Both our families lived nearby. My parents were 3 blocks away, and Logan's mother popped in whenever she wanted with the excuse of just passing by. We weren't wealthy, but we got by. I worked part-time at a bookstore, and Logan was a maintenance engineer at a local plant. Everything started to shift about a month ago. At first I thought I was just overthinking, but the little things kept piling up and I began to feel lost in my own home. Logan, the man who used to lie in bed until the last possible minute, suddenly started waking up before the alarm. He went downstairs, made breakfast for the kids himself, and gently told me, "You should sleep in. I'll take them to school today." I looked at him, half asleep, thinking he must have done something wrong and was trying to make up for it. But he just smiled. No explanation. That wasn't all. One day I came home to find the sink empty for once. Logan was wiping down the counters with a damp cloth, humming a tune I didn't recognize. I asked, and he said, "The house felt gross. Just wanted it to look better. No complaining, no sighing like usual." He started handing me the remote, didn't grumble about the shows I picked. He didn't even flinch at the Target receipt I'd left on the table. I waited for something like, "Why are you buying so much?" But nothing came. Just a lazy nod and more scrolling on his phone. Logan used to tell me straight up that he didn't understand why I wasted money on things like scented candles or pretty notebooks. Now, he called them those cute little things you like. I didn't recognize this version of Logan. He didn't snap when the kids turned on the TV past bedtime. He didn't scold Max for leaving toys everywhere. And he started saying strange things like, "I'll go grocery shopping after work," or, "Don't worry about cleaning, I've got it." I told my sister, Lana, who doesn't believe in kindness without a reason, and she just said, "Maybe he's scared you're actually going to snap after that time you threw the lunchbox at the wall." I laughed, but not fully, because deep down, I knew something wasn't right. He'd never been the kind of man to do everything without complaining, so why was he acting like someone else? I wanted to believe he was just trying. But my gut wouldn't settle, especially when Logan started changing how he spoke. Things like, "Everything's going to be okay, don't worry," or "Today feels so light." They sounded gentle, but they chilled me. Then, one night, I heard him whistling a melody I'd never known he liked, coming from the phone that never left his hand anymore. Screen always face down, sound always on mute. I started paying closer attention when Logan chuckled to himself while texting, or let out a soft laugh while staring at his screen. A laugh I hadn't seen from him in years. It wasn't the polite kind you give your kids, or the chuckle from watching our favorite shows. It was private, like he was living in a different world, one I wasn't part of. I asked him what he was watching. He just shook his head. "Nothing, just some funny videos." But his hand gripped the phone tighter, screen still face down. What really froze me was when I caught him softly singing along to some obscure indie song from Spotify. I asked, "Since when do you listen to this kind of music?" He shrugged. "I've been trying new things lately." I remembered clearly. This was the man who once mocked sleepy music. Now he was humming lyrics like, "You came like quiet sunlight and left without a sound." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Other small changes crept into our daily life. Logan didn't seem to care about the budget anymore. I brought home a few extra groceries we didn't need, left the receipt out in plain sight. He saw it and said nothing. No scolding, no sideways glance. At first it felt freeing, then unsettling. I asked Lana again. She stared at me, tilted her head. What if he's seeing someone else? I almost burst out laughing. Logan? The man who's always too busy, hates talking, and fears change. With who? But that question stuck in my mind like a fishbone. I couldn't swallow it. I couldn't ignore it. Then the kids, Ella and Max, accidentally dropped a name I'd never heard before. One evening, while I was detangling Ella's hair after swim class, she whispered, "Miss Elisa made us cocoa today. She added marshmallows, too." I paused. "Ooh, sweetie, which miss?" "Miss Elisa. She has pinkish purple hair and lots of drawings on her arms. She knows Daddy's favorite song, too. Daddy says she's really fun." My heart hit the floor. I had never heard Logan mention anyone named Elisa. I asked, "Does she work at your school?" "Not really. Daddy says she's just helping out. But she comes over a lot. She's fun." Max jumped in. "She even let me play games on her phone. Daddy said Mommy doesn't need to know." I froze. Every word felt like a pair of scissors slicing through the illusion of peace I'd been trying to protect. That night, I asked Logan as casually as I could while washing dishes, "Do you know anyone named Elisa? Ella said she's often at school." Logan didn't turn around. He just said flatly, "Probably some assistant teacher. Don't overthink it." I bit my lip. "Really? Pink purple hair, full sleeve tattoos?" He shrugged. "Kids make stuff up. You know that." I didn't press further. But I wasn't calm inside. I texted another mom whose child was in Ella's class and gently asked, "Is there anyone named Elisa at the school?" She replied a few minutes later, "Never heard of her. I'll ask tomorrow." The next morning I got another message. "No one knows who Elisa is. She's not on the staff or assistant list." My hands went cold. Elisa wasn't from the school. So who was she? And how did she know Logan's preferences? Why was she so close to my kids? Giving them cocoa, letting them play on her phone, and saying Daddy doesn't want Mommy to know? All the scattered clues started to form a picture I didn't want to face. That evening, Logan said he was stepping out to grab some groceries, but instead of driving off, he stood outside his truck, texting and smiling. I watched from the kitchen window, a knife still in my hand, slicing onions, and for a split second, I realized that smile hadn't been meant for me in over a year. I'm not someone who gets blindly jealous, but something deep inside told me, if I didn't find out the truth soon, everything would collapse before I could prepare for it. It happened on a Saturday afternoon while I was rushing to pack snacks for Ella's friend's birthday party. I had already bought cake, candy, and juice, but forgot the specific box of cookies Ella insisted on bringing because Kate likes them. Logan was supposedly grocery shopping, so I had to manage alone. I opened his truck, his old pickup that he usually parked at the end of the yard, to grab the cooler and water bottles for the kids, and then, while rummaging through the glove compartment, my hand brushed against something unfamiliar. A phone. Not the one he used every day, not the iPhone he always had face down each night. This was a different one. Black, older, no case, no screen protector. At first I thought it was an old backup, but when I pressed the power button, the screen lit up. No passcode. I glanced toward the house. Logan wasn't back yet. My hands trembled as I opened the messages. The name at the top made it hard to breathe. Elisa. I didn't have to dig far. The texts jumped out at me. "I miss you. The kids are adorable. Max keeps asking if I'll come back. I just want to hold you and disappear from this place. When are you going to tell Ruby? We deserve a fresh start." I scrolled, fingers stiffening as I saw the photos. Pictures taken inside a car. Elisa in the passenger seat, head resting on Logan's shoulder, her pink purple hair vivid, tattoos stretching from wrist to shoulder. Her face glowing. And him. He was smiling. The kind of smile I once believed was mine. Another photo, the two of them at a park, in the distance, blurred but unmistakable, were Ella and Max on the slide. I felt sick. I don't know how many screenshots I took. My hands kept shaking, but I kept saving every piece of evidence to my own phone. I saw a message from 3 weeks ago, when I was sick in bed with the flu. "Don't feel guilty. She doesn't care anymore. Always complaining, always tired. I only feel human when I'm with you." So I was complaining, huh? And he felt alive with another woman while I did the laundry, made dinner, and soothed our kids to sleep? I sat frozen in that truck for nearly 10 minutes. The kids were inside watching cartoons, unaware. I, the wife who once thought she was strong, now sat in an old pickup clutching a phone and the crumbling remains of my world. I walked back inside, evidence clenched tightly in my pocket. Logan had just returned, carrying grocery bags from the convenience store. He walked into the kitchen, calling out like nothing had happened. "Did someone remember almond milk?" I said, "When did you get a second phone?" He stopped, looked at me, then gave a weak chuckle. "What are you talking about?" I pulled the phone out and placed it on the table. The screen was still lit. "This one. The messages, the photos, Elisa, everything." He stood still. No denial, no excuses, just closed his eyes for a moment and sighed. "I was gonna tell you, I just didn't know when." I let out a quiet laugh. "You found time to laugh with her, to take her out with your kids, but not to talk to your wife?" He set the bags down and said slowly, "You're always like this, heavy, you don't let people be themselves." I turned and walked out of the kitchen. My hands were still shaking, but my heart wasn't afraid anymore. I don't remember how much I slept that night. Maybe I didn't sleep at all. But the next morning I got up earlier than usual. The kitchen still smelled faintly of the coffee Logan had made the day before, but I didn't touch it. I got the kids dressed, made breakfast like always, and tried to keep my voice steady when I said, "Put on your jackets, it's cold today." Logan didn't say a word. Maybe it was because of the message I sent last night. Maybe because he hadn't figured out how to twist everything into being my fault yet. I waited until the kids got in the car, then I turned to him and said, "I won't be sleeping here tonight." Logan frowned. "Ruby, you're overreacting." My gaze didn't waver. "You want me to stay calm? I've been calm for a whole month while you let some strange woman get close to our kids, brought her into this family like I was the outsider." He raised both hands, his voice lowering. "You always do this, always criticizing, always pressuring. You're always tired, always saying no one helps you. I just needed someone who made it easier to breathe." I let out a dry laugh. "So the solution is to lie to your wife, get a secret phone, and whisper sweet things to your mistress in the car?" Logan turned away, rubbing his head. "I never meant to hurt you, it's just I don't feel like myself in this marriage anymore." There was no anger in my eyes anymore, but with a hollow ache that went all the way down. "Well, now you're free. You're the one who walked out of this marriage, not me." I packed what the three of us needed in silence. The essentials, clothes, a few of Max and Ella's favorite toys, some of the bedtime books I used to read to them. I left the wedding photos hanging on the walls. I didn't need to carry any more illusions with me. I called Chloe, my sister, the one who used to mock Logan during our first year of marriage. She just asked, "How soon do you need me there?" 30 minutes later I was in the backseat of her car, looking at the house I used to call home every day. Now, it was just an empty shell. Ella rested her head on my shoulder and whispered, "Where are we going, Mommy?" I stroked her hair and answered, "We're staying at Aunt Chloe's for now, just for a little while. Everything's going to be okay." Max sat in the back seat, gripping his toy dinosaur. He didn't say a word, and I knew even at his age, he could feel something big was changing. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat in the small guest room at Chloe's house with the old laptop she gave me. I started doing things I never thought I'd have to do. Changed passwords, logged out every device with Logan's name, sent a request to temporarily lock our joint bank account, and transferred my portion to a newly opened account. Not out of revenge, but because I knew if given the chance, he wouldn't hesitate to take everything, emotionally, financially. I sent Logan a single message. "I left enough for your half of the mortgage this month. I've withdrawn the rest. If you want to spend money on someone else, use your own." Chloe walked in with 2 cups of tea. "Are you doing okay?" I don't know what hurts more, that he cheated on me, or that I let myself not see it sooner. She held my hand. "It's not that you didn't see it. You were busy living, he was busy hiding." My eyes stung, but I didn't cry. Not because I was strong, but because I didn't have any tears left for Logan. The first message from Logan came at 11 p.m., just a few hours after I moved into Chloe's place. "What are you doing, Ruby?" 15 minutes later came a string of texts, starting with, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Then shifting tone. Leaving like this is irresponsible. Then flipping again. I just wanted to be heard. You always blow everything out of proportion. I placed the phone face down, but my hand clenched around it as if I could crush every memory with sheer pressure. The next morning, I got a call from June, Logan's mom. We'd never been close, though I'd always kept things polite. Hi, Ruby. Her voice was soft, almost enough to sound like she cared. Logan told me you two had a little misunderstanding? I didn't sugarcoat it. Ma'am, he cheated. That's not a misunderstanding. He let that woman around my kids? He had a second phone, I have proof. A long sigh came through the line. Ruby, everyone makes mistakes, but my daughter-in-law, because I still see you that way? Don't let one moment of anger tear a family apart. Think of Ella and Max. I cut her off. I am thinking of them. That's exactly why I can't let someone who lies like that keep playing the perfect dad. She stayed quiet for a few seconds, then spoke in that tone like I was the irrational one. You've always been too sensitive. Logan just needed someone to listen, and you... I hung up. An hour later, I got a group text. Me, June, and Nicole, Logan's sister. Nicole used to be someone I thought I could trust, until I read her first line. You're tearing this family apart. The next message from June read, Logan hasn't eaten anything since yesterday. He said you took the kids without telling him. I replied with 3 screenshots from the secret phone. Logan and Elisa hugging, Logan texting, she doesn't notice anything. We just have to be patient. I added one line. This is the truth about your son. Don't ask me to play deaf and blind anymore. That afternoon, Chloe took me shopping for some clothes for Ella. While helping her try things on, I got a message from an unknown number. Don't turn this into a war. I didn't need to guess it was Logan. I replied, wars don't start with the ones who were betrayed. Not long after, Chloe got a message from Logan. The first line said, You're helping Ruby destroy my life. Chloe silently handed me the phone, then replied with a single word. Good. That night, while I was drying Ella's hair after her bath, she asked softly, Mom, is Dad mad? I paused. Dad's sad, honey, but not because of you. You didn't do anything wrong. Without a word, she leaned closer and whispered, You seem stronger now. That sentence crushed my throat. Not out of pride, but pain. Because my daughter had to learn what heartbreak looked like too soon, and already felt the need to measure her mother's emotions at just 8 years old. I didn't need forgiveness from Logan. I didn't need approval from his family. I just needed a clear path to protect myself and my children. And if that made me too much, then I was willing to carry that label. Because this time I wouldn't stay silent to keep the peace for people who treated me like something disposable in the very house they burned down with lies. After 3 days of silence, Logan returned like a storm. I was walking Ella and Max to the car when I saw his pickup truck parked across the street, engine running, window down. He didn't get out, just sat there, eyes fixed on the 3 of us like he wanted to freeze the moment. I hesitated for a second but didn't stop. I got the kids into the car, locked the doors, and drove away without looking back. That night, he texted, I just wanted to see the kids. You're trying to erase me from their lives. 5 minutes later came another. If you don't let me see them, I'll just pick them up from school like I used to. I immediately called the school office. I kept my voice steady as I said, We're currently in the process of separation. I need to update the list of authorized pickup persons for Ella and Max. The staff confirmed and noted the update. Only Mom, Aunt Chloe, and Grandma will stay alert. The next day, I got a call from Ella's homeroom teacher. Her voice was tense. Miss Ruby, this morning Logan showed up at the school unannounced. He asked to take Ella home before dismissal. When we said no, he got agitated. I thanked her and apologized for putting the school staff in that position. After hanging up, I sat at Chloe's kitchen table, gripping a cold cup of coffee. Logan wasn't just texting or lurking anymore. Now he was testing my limits. 3 days later, I got off work to find him leaning against his truck in the parking lot, hands in his pockets, eyes cold. I just want to talk, he said as I approached. I have nothing to say, I replied, gripping my keys tighter. Don't act like I'm dangerous, he snapped. You showed up at the school at the parking lot at my sister's house, so tell me, what would you call it? He went quiet for a few seconds, then gave a bitter laugh. You want to turn this into some kind of movie? I opened my car door without looking at him. If you follow me one more time, I'll file a restraining order. I wasn't bluffing. The next day, I went to a lawyer's office and started the paperwork. I didn't want my kids growing up in constant tension, but I also couldn't let this man believe I would keep giving in. That evening, while reading to Max, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Hi Ruby, this is Elisa. I know I shouldn't text, but I need to tell you the truth. The next message followed immediately. He told me you two had been separated for a long time, that you didn't care anymore. I believed him. I didn't know anything about you or the kids. I scrolled down, reading every word slowly. I only realized how wrong everything was when I met Max. He asked if I was his new teacher. I couldn't answer. I stepped out onto the balcony, took a deep breath, then typed slowly. You don't owe me an explanation. But you knew who had a wife, a family, who was lying. You're not as naive as you think. Elisa's final message came a few minutes later. I've stepped away. I'm disgusted with myself too. I wish you peace. I left it there. No reply. No need to toss more words onto a dying fire. The tension kept escalating all week. Logan shifted into the pity phase. He started sending crying texts, saying he couldn't eat or sleep, that there's no point in living after losing my family. Chloe's eyes searched mine, worried. Do you think he'd do something reckless? Erkenbag, I shook my head. Logan loves himself more than anyone. He's not reckless, he's just dramatic. I began logging every call, every message, every time he showed up unannounced. The lawyer advised me to document everything in preparation for the upcoming custody hearing. I filed for legal separation on Ella's 8th birthday. Not because I wanted to tie that memory to something bitter, but because I was exhausted from pretending to be the patient wife, the gentle mother, while the man on the other side had used every trick in the book to manipulate me through guilt and anger. I prepared the documents quietly, handing my lawyer all the evidence, photos, texts, logs of Logan showing up at school without permission, call records from unknown numbers in the middle of the night, and a detailed journal of his behavior over the past 6 weeks. She met my eyes, voice calm. This is a very strong case. The next step is he'll fight back hard. And she was right. Less than 48 hours after receiving the court summons, Logan sent a nearly 7-page response to my lawyer. He requested a 50-50 split of all assets, including the car I used and the savings I had built separately from my part-time job. Worse, he demanded joint custody of the kids. I wasn't surprised, but it still sent a chill down my spine. In his petition, his lawyer argued that Ruby has shown signs of emotional instability, having relocated the children without proper notice, and that restricting paternal access constitutes hostility and harms the children's emotional development. I let out a dry laugh. Chloe slammed the table. He's serious? After everything he did? I exhaled, grabbed the phone and called my lawyer. What's our response? She replied calmly. No emotional reaction, we have the facts, and the court will see them. At the first hearing, Logan showed up in a wrinkled suit with dark circles under his eyes, trying to look miserable. His mother, June, sat silently behind him the whole time, saying nothing. Nicole didn't come. His lawyer repeated the same points, that I had removed the children without notice, that Logan was a devoted father being kept from his kids due to misunderstanding. I didn't speak, I simply held up my phone and scrolled through the photos, the messages, the school notes, and the incident report from the parking lot. I didn't need to argue. The truth spoke for itself. The judge looked at me, then turned to Logan. Do you know a woman named Elisa? Logan glanced at me and nodded slowly. Do you confirm that you allowed her to interact with the children without the mother's consent? Yes, but... No, but... The room froze. Logan slumped in his seat and exhaled heavily. June turned away, staring at her hands. She didn't say a word from start to finish. A temporary ruling was issued afterward. I would have primary custody. Logan was granted supervised visitation. Regarding assets, most of what I had built or kept in my name was recognized. The 50-50 split applied only to the marital fund. And I had left enough for him to live decently if he knew how to manage it. After the hearing, I heard nothing from Nicole. No calls from June. The sarcasm, the blame, the "you should think of the kids," all vanished. Maybe because they finally saw the truth. Or maybe they were too busy comforting Logan, who began posting vague things on social media about being betrayed by those closest. And Elisa? Not a trace. Her social media accounts were deleted, her number disconnected. An old acquaintance at the gym whispered that she had quit suddenly, without saying goodbye. Maybe out of shame, maybe clarity. But whatever the reason, I no longer cared. The kids and I moved into the small spare room at my parents' house in a quiet neighborhood north of Denver. It was just big enough for 2 twin beds and an old bookshelf, but at least no more coldness hiding behind closed doors. My dad built an extra coat rack. My mom cooked dinner every night. Ella helped pick vegetables. Max loved lying on the living room rug, watching reruns of the shows Logan used to call boring. I returned to part-time work at a local bookstore. The pay wasn't much, but I felt peace standing among the shelves, reshelving books I once read as a girl, before I became a wife, then a mother, then a woman trying to hold a crumbling house together. On weekends, I drove for rideshare to earn extra. Chloe often joked that I was a supermom, but I knew she just wanted to make me laugh, if only for a moment. In reality, money was tight, especially after the asset split and my share of the kids' future tuition. But at least I knew every dollar I earned was clean. Mine. Untainted by anyone else's lies. I began searching for a small apartment for the 3 of us. Something modest, with morning sunlight through the windows, a little balcony where Ella could grow herbs, and close enough to school that Max could eventually ride his bike. No need for a dishwasher. No glossy hardwood floors. I just needed a place with no broken memories. One night, after Ella had fallen asleep and Max was still doodling in his notebook, I sat at the kitchen table and reopened one of Logan's last messages. "You ruined everything. Hope you're happy." I never replied to that message. I no longer needed to explain myself to someone who chose to believe everyone else over the woman who shared his bed for nearly 10 years. And I wasn't trying to appear strong. Some nights I still lay awake, feeling hollow like a bed without blankets. Sometimes I cried when I saw Max accidentally write the word "Dad" in his school drawing. But then he ran up to me with another drawing. "It's you reading to us." And so I kept going. One afternoon, while shelving books at the store, a woman walked in. Long brown hair, sunglasses. She walked straight to the counter, bought 2 children's books, and before turning to leave she said softly, "You're Ruby, aren't you?" I looked up, stunned for a second. It was Elisa. She didn't smile, but she didn't look away. I just wanted to say, "I understand why you didn't forgive me, and I don't expect you to. I don't hate you anymore either." Elisa bowed slightly, then left without looking back. I watched her disappear through the glass doors. No anger rose up, no sense of triumph, just relief, like finally taking off a pair of shoes that had been too tight all day. That night, I wrote the first lines in a new journal, like starting something that no longer had Logan lurking in the corners of my thoughts. And if, in Logan's story, I'm the villain, the one who destroyed the family, hurt him, walked away, so be it. My story isn't about becoming strong. It's about standing up when silence no longer protects anything. I didn't win. I didn't need to. I just reclaimed ownership of my life after being turned into a shadow in my own home. Now, though things are still hard, I know I'm truly living, not trying to please anyone, not suffering to preserve something already gone. And that, to me, is freedom. What do you think of Ruby's decision? Was she too harsh? Or was this the only way to protect herself and her children? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to follow the channel for more heartfelt stories about family and life.